back, our next achiever started her illustrious career of more than 37 years as a probationary officer. She went on to juggle multiple portfolios in a predominantly male-dominated sector to become the first woman chairperson of India's largest bank.
Coming from a modest family in Bhilai, Arundhati Bhattacharya got her early inspiration from her mother.
I was born into a small nuclear family, in the sense that my father was with the Steel Authority of India in Bhilai. So we were in Bhilai Steel Plant, and these were the early days when Bhilai was getting established. And in fact, even for, I'm told, even for potatoes and eggs, we'd have to go to Raipur. So it was mainly gravel, nothing else much. And I had a brother and a sister, and of course my mother was a homemaker. But in view of the fact that, Bhilai was so bereft of any of the other infrastructure, it so happened that when the children were falling sick and all, there was not enough medical facilities available. So my mother took up homeopathy. And actually she started treating all the neighborhood children and things like that. And then after a period of time she decided, that she would like to do this on a regular basis. So she studied after the entire housework was over. Sometimes we woke up late in the night and found her still studying. And that's how she became a registered homeopath. People keep asking me, where I got this wish for having a career. I think to some extent by seeing the women folk in our family, and I've seen the way they have built their careers. Literally, they have gone out of their way, done a lot of things which people in those days, didn't really think it was something that could be done.
After completing her MA, Arundhati Bhattacharya plunged into a career at the State Bank of India, an organization which was destined to grow while catalyzing growth for all.
The kind of your orientation and initial training that SBI gives, it's really very nice. And because you are with a group of similar youngsters, it can be some of the best memories that you'll have throughout your life. So we had a great time, and of course the reality dawned when we actually joined at the branches. I was given Alipur branch as the first branch, and Alipur in those days they were the largest treasury branch, because the 24 Paraganas in West Bengal, there was still one district. They had not broken it up into north and south. And I joined on the day before the Puja holidays. And as you can imagine, the day before the Puja holidays in a treasury branch, huge number of government checks being paid, government bills being paid, and everybody fighting for that money because they needed to pay off their people just before the pujas. So literally, people were crawling up the barriers, and I was amazed at the crowd and totally intimidated. And of course, after a little while, I was told that there's a lathi charge going on outside, because people they were becoming too much of a problem. So I was put to writing down checks. So the first day my job was to write the government scrolls, which basically meant that you have to take 3 sheets, put carbon paper, and then put down the check number, the amount, and then just add it. 25 checks to each government scrolls, as they were called. So by the end of the day, 2 plus 2 was making 7. Means I was so frazzled by writing those things. And I worked in that section for about 2 weeks and got a corn in my finger, because you have to write really hard in order to make 3 carbon copies. So after those first 2 weeks experience, means I really sat down and started wondering, as to what I had got myself into, because that was not what I had thought banking would be when I had got in. But anyway, those were early days, and I think that kind of pressure and that kind of experience literally sets you up to take on a lot of pressure subsequently.
During her illustrious career of more than 37 years, Arundhati Bhattacharya has played a pivotal role in the development of the State Bank of India.
In State Bank of India, a number of these youngsters ask me, how have you stayed in a bank for 30 years plus, 35 years plus? Means they are almost amazed that anybody could stay in one organization. I continue to tell them that it's not one organization. I have had literally 12 to 14 jobs in this organization. So I have done, say, things like retail, I have done corporate, I have done foreign exchange, I have done treasury, I have looked after HR, I have done investment banking. I even set up new businesses. Some of the businesses that you see in the bank today, such as the general insurance, then the private equity fund that we set up for Macquarie, then the custodial services company. All of those were set up when I was CGM of new business. So during that period of 1 year, 8 months, I did 3 joint venture agreements, which is not easy to do because all of these joint venture agreements were with foreign firms. The bank has given me a lot of exposure in a lot of areas. You know, when you start getting into situations where you have independent charge, then your entrepreneurship sort of shows up. So, you know, even when you are a branch manager, and that happens nowadays quite early in life, actually you can be an entrepreneur. Because in a branch, within the parameters given, you can do a lot of new things. So, you know, for instance, if you are finding that, you know, a lot of people are coming in at the same time, which happens in a branch if you have a lot of pensioners as your customers. All pensioners want their pension on the first of the month. So you have a huge crowd. Now you can find innovative ways of ensuring that the pensioners don't all crowd in on the first. We wanted the entire crowd to be spread across 10 days. Okay, we didn't want them to come only on the first. So we created 10 groups. Then each of those groups for the first time, when they needed to come on the, say the person who came on the first, now would be needed to come on the 5th, would be required to come on the 5th. So he has to wait 5 more days. To make it worth his while, we created a medical camp on the 5th day. So they could have, you know, free checkups. And that, you know, sort of was a freebie or sort of a kind of an incentive for him to come on the 5th. So, you know, you can make changes like this, little changes that you can do in order to ensure that the job that you are doing, that it goes better, people enjoy doing the job more.
Today, as the head of India's largest bank, Arundhati Bhattacharya has been named as the 36th most powerful woman in the world by Forbes.
See, when I came in as the chairman, there were a lot of challenges, lots of challenges before SBI. Many of them on account of the economy that was facing a downturn. Also on account of the fact that, you know, costs were rising very sharply in the bank. And obviously NPAs were a major challenge because the slippages in the accounts were continuing apace and business was not growing to that extent. Fee income was not growing. So the things that I concentrated on once I got into SBI, on the qualitative side, you know, tried to bring in a risk conscious environment. That is, everybody right down to the person who's opening an account must understand the risks they are taking and must be able to understand the quantum of the risk and how to mitigate it. Second is, in respect of NPAs, it needed us to all sit together, brainstorm and get at the solutions. So that's another thing I did. The third, of course, you know, I needed to look at the costs themselves. So tried to create awareness about waste rather than cost, and try and cut down on waste wherever I could. You know, initially when you cut down on a few things, there is always resistance. But there was also a very big upswell of support from people who themselves were chaffing at the waste and wanted to see that these things get taken out. So costs were that area. And also, of course, the fact that, you know, in SBI, there is this perception that we are a public sector bank, and therefore, you know, you get relegated into a corner which says bad service. So we needed to change this perception. We needed to do things about our delivery. So we got working on finding out what are the best ways of changing this perception, of improving delivery. And And while we were doing all of these things, we realized that technology is really the key to many of our issues, whether it be identification of risk, whether it be delivery at a particular level, whether it be cutting down of costs. Technology seemed to be the one theme that runs through all of this. So we put in a lot of resources on technology. What we have tried to do in the rural area, we have tried to tweak products to ensure that we stay in touch with the rural masses on a month-by-month basis. So we realized that we needed what we now call a hub and spoke model, whereby I have created a business correspondent at every village. And this business correspondent knows who are our customers and is required to go and meet the customers. We are now training them and getting them certified to become our recovery agents. Once that happens, once they are certified as recovery agents, they will actually work like our arms in actually going and doing the recoveries. We are also empowering all of these people with RuPay cards. Once they have these RuPay cards and these business correspondents, they will have a means of giving them cash. Then with the help of these RuPay cards and their finger for identifying them, their fingerprint for identifying them, we will be able to get much more closer to the rural masses. After 10 years, well, I see it even bigger than what it is today. I see it as a very efficient bank. I see it as something that continues to remain the number one bank in the country and the leader in respect of all kinds of financial services.
Arundhati Bhattacharya walked away with the coveted Entrepreneurial CEO of the Year award for 2014.
The Entrepreneurial CEO of the Year is Arundhati Bhattacharya of State Bank of India.
That's a wrap on Passion to Win this evening, but do tune in same time next week on CNBC TV 18 to catch the winners of two of the biggest awards of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2014. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.